Hello, my name is Jacob Sullivan. I'm my principal product manager at AWS. And today I want to talk to you about how to transform your bug bash into an AWS bug bust. So bug bust is an exciting new platform from AWS, and it's designed to make hosting bug bashes easier and fun. And you get to use AWS CodeGuru Reviewer and Profiler to help you automate the bug fixing and event management. Presenting with me today is also Danny Fowler from Nextroll, a software engineering team lead. And a little bit later in the presentation, he's going to come on. He's going to tell you about his own experience with bug bust. But for now, get your developers and your bug busters ready for a whole new level of competition and fun. In today's talk, I'm going to cover a bit about traditional bug bashes and some of the challenges that we see, as well as the benefits of using the new AWS BugBust platform. We're going to do a deep dive into how the system works, and we're going to do that by showing you a demo both from the admin side as well as the player side, before handing it over to Danny so he can talk about his own team's experience with BugBust, and then wrapping up with a little bit more information about how you can get started yourself. So we hear from our customers that our businesses, regardless of size or market, are under constant pressure to innovate faster and to do so at lower costs in rapidly changing business environments. And one of the most important steps in software development is code review. Code reviews help you ensure the correctness of code. They check for security issues. They encourage your team to use coding best practices. And as code bases become larger and as more new features are added to applications at a greater velocity, the volume and complexity of code reviews increase. And what we know and what we hear from other reports, such as the System Science Institute at IBM's study of code quality, is that bugs that make it into production cost more. These bugs impact productivity, they reduce application availability, they create security risks. And what IBM found was that it can cost up to 100 times more to fix a bug, depending on how far it got into the software development cycle, as compared to fixing it in the initial design phase. And the business demands that are driving the rapid development does not abate because of these code review challenges. And the overall situation is reducing the quality of applications that we're pushing into production and risks the loss of revenue and customers. And we haven't even started talking about the cost of maintaining legacy code over time. And this is why developers are constantly looking for a better and less tedious way to perform code reviews and to make their applications more secure, reliable, and efficient. And some organizations hold bug bash events to help figure out how to do these code reviews faster. But there are challenges with traditional bug bashes. Bug bashes require manual inspection of large code bases. They limit the ability for your teams to work together and share best practices. And there's no automated or uniform way to check and see if all of the bugs have been eliminated. So what's the solution to these challenges? AWS BugBust is the world's first global competition for Java and Python developers to fix 1 million bugs and reduce technical debt by over $100 million. AWS BugBust does this by helping you transform your bug bash events into easy and fun ways to foster team building and bring friendly competition to improve your code quality and your application performance. You can set up private BugBust virtual events quickly and easily from the AWS console, and I'll show you exactly how to do that in just a few minutes. This platform has built-in leaderboards, challenges, and rewards. It helps you find and fix complex issues faster. You utilize machine learning-powered developer tools such as Amazon's CodeGuru Reviewer and CodeGuru Profiler to automatically scan your code and weed out the gnarly bugs. And the platform helps you gamify the fixing and elimination of these bugs faster and a lot more fun. So it allows you to fix as many bugs as possible, score points, earn badges and rewards as you climb both your own events leaderboard and the global leaderboard. So you bust your bugs to win. This platform, the BugBust platform, is powered by the machine learning services of Amazon CodeGuru Reviewer and CodeGuru Profiler. And these services are designed to fit into your existing development toolchain. So as you write and review bugs, you can check that code in, and CodeGuru Reviewer will review that for you. As you move into the build and test phase, Amazon CodeGuru Profiler, which is a lightweight active agent that's there to identify the function calls that you're making from your code that may be inefficient. You can deploy this into production, and Profiler will continue to sit there with you in production to monitor any changes in your application's performance over time. And this creates a virtuous cycle leading all the way back to the code that you've developed and CodeGuru Reviewer, so that you're continually iterating, continually improving, and continually deploying into production. CodeGuru Reviewer focuses on a few key areas of code review. First is AWS best practices. So it scans your code to identify whether or not you're utilizing the AWS APIs both efficiently and securely. It also checks for concurrency, resource leaks, sensitive information, code efficiency, code duplication, and input validation. And together, these areas and detectors that are in CodeGuru Reviewer help you improve the code quality overall, check for any issues that should block a deployment into production, and identify security risks before you've even launched your code. But let's jump in and see how the BugBust platform and the CodeGuru tools work together. You can find the AWS BugBust platform from the AWS console. So after you've logged in and you do a search for CodeGuru or BugBust, you'll find the AWS BugBust main page. And from here, we can jump in and get started with creating your first BugBust event. The system is going to walk you through the steps of creating your first event. First, it's going to cover the rules and scoring. Different bug types are going to have different points that are assigned to them based on the system's evaluation of severity. So issues related to Java best practices may have fewer points than issues such as security that the system's identified. In addition to that, if you're using AWS CodeGuru Profiler, the improvements that you make in that profiling group, which is measuring the CPU usage, will translate into points as well. So a modest improvement in your CPU usage will have fewer points than a very significant improvement. And so this provides the framework for how the platform is going to work. The next step is to create a BugBust player account if you haven't created one before. You can click here on create a new account. It's going to ask you for an email, and you can set up your password as an administrator. I've set up my account already, so we're going to go ahead and sign in. The name that was assigned to me when I started was Qualified Workaround, which I love as a great name. But you can go in and edit this and change your username to whatever suits you. Once you've logged in or created your player account, the next step is to create the basic information for the event. It's going to ask you for the event name and a brief description, as well as when you want your event to start. And we're going to go ahead and pick a couple of days in the future because we have some more preparation that we need to do. Here in the system, it's going to ask you to identify what the prizes are. Certainly, you can put in your own prizes. For this example, we're just going to put in some text to fill out the field. Once I've identified the prizes that are available, because this information will be passed to the player once they log into the platform. And my end time needs to be after my event start. So I've set up the rules and scoring. I've signed into the BugBust event, and I've created the initial event details. At this point, I'm actually going to create the event. And from here, it takes me to the dashboard of my test event. I can go back and edit the event details if I need to, but I now need to import some bugs, and these are called work items. And I have choices of importing only from CodeGuru Reviewer, Profiler, or if I want to do a combination event, I can choose both repositories that have been analyzed by Reviewer as well as the CodeGuru Profiler. Now, to make all of this work, some preparation is needed in advance. So what I've done is I've set up a GitHub repository. I'm using the CodeGuru Reviewer sample, and I've forked that code so I have a clean repository that's available. I've gone into the CodeGuru service itself, and I'm here on the dashboard for CodeGuru, and you can see that I've set up some code repositories. So by going to the CodeGuru Reviewer, repositories, and code reviews, I've set up that repo from GitHub that I showed you just a second ago, and I've run a full repository analysis on that repo. So CodeGuru, code reviews, create full repository analysis, and I've linked it, associate a repo, to that item that I set up or that repo that I set up in GitHub. Now, I've already done this process, but this is a step that you'll need to go through to be able to set up the bugs necessary for the bug bust. And once you've clicked through these menus, the remaining process is automated. It'll reach out, it'll consume that repo, and it will run a repository scan. And you can see here the list of repository scans that I've run with CodeGuru Reviewer. So now, if I go back to the BugBust platform, you can see here that that repository is available for me to select and go ahead and import into my event. But let me show you an event that I'd set up previously, BugBust Test 1, that has these steps completed. And this event has already started. So I have 4 days and 2 hours remaining. My dashboard tells me the basic information of the BugBust event and the remaining time and the current trends. Now in that repo, the sample repo that I connected, there are 4 unclaimed bugs. And from my admin dashboard, I can see how the event is progressing, including the leaderboard. Now for this example, I've associated my name as a player, but if I want to, I can go to invite players, and it gives me a pre-made email, including a very important link of how I can invite other players to this competition. And so I can copy this, create an email, and send it out to any of the BugBust players that I want to invite. And they're giving a URL to create their player account, as well as a specific URL to the event that I just created. So from the player's perspective, once they've registered and created their account by providing an email address and the password, they're taken to the player dashboard. And here in the player dashboard, they have a similar set of information, including the remaining time, as well as an overview of the work items. Now, I haven't claimed any bugs yet. So as a player, after I've created my account and the event has begun, the first thing that I need to do is to come in here and authorize my player email address with the Git repository, that the code that the administrator has set up for the code. And so I've taken that step and I've authorized my player account email address with that GitHub repo. The second step is that I need to claim bugs. And so in order to do that, I come here to my filter view, and I want to look at all the bugs or the unclaimed bugs, and I read through and see which ones I think I can fix. This first one here is unclaimed. So I simply click on it, and it tells me I can claim up to 10 bugs at a time, and I need to perform a pull request to be able to complete the cycle. And it takes me to my claim bugs. So as a player, I need to go and find this bug, fix it, and check it into the repo, and perform a pull request, at which time it will populate into the leaderboard and show points that I've accumulated as a player. Now, this leaderboard is for my specific bug bust event that's still remaining. You can also go and see the global leaderboard on the AWS console. And here you can see that there are participants that are already taking the top 3 rank. And we'll talk a little bit more about the global competition when we talk about how you can get started in just a bit. But at this point, I want to turn it over to Danny so he can talk about his team's own experience at Nextroll using the AWS BugBust platform.
Thanks, Jacob. I'm Dan Fowler. I work at Nextroll. We are a marketing platform that creates personalized digital campaigns. We also offer a set of APIs that allow businesses to also build customized solutions for their own marketing products. All this is built around our ML marketing tech, which serves about 150 billion daily predictions as of now. My team itself is the site reliability engineering team, where we work to kind of bring our developers together through tooling and give them better tool sets to work with. We also work on reliability, of course, but really our core focus is around that developer experience. Nextroll has been remote first for many years, even before 2020. So we have a good bit of experience with what brings together distributed teams, but we are always looking for new ways to kind of augment that and improve the experience. So a big part of that is finding ways to make the work more collaborative. And anytime you have a chance to add prizes and competition to that is a big bonus. And BugBust was a really appealing way to kind of add those components to our existing code review and just competition in general to that process. For our BugBust event, we actually had about 13 participants, and we were able to resolve quite a bit of code issues that I'll get to in a moment. But so our first BugBust was a really great experience. We had 13 participants out of our larger group of devs who volunteered to give it a shot. And we were able to incorporate about 6 code bases. In total, that led to about 54 bugs squashed, 7 of those being critical and 10 further being security related, so critical in another way. But really the biggest component that was appealing to us was this ability to bring all of our developers who are participating together from these teams that were not typically working together and not typically sharing or having any reason to share the learnings that are occurring on each of their teams. So this led to a lot of fun competition. We had a couple individuals who were really going head to head there toward the end of our 8-hour window there. This all again happened in a single day, so didn't even require a full 8 hours. But the ML engine in BugBust really saved a lot of time. A lot of time is wasted on just developers going and finding bugs to squash in the first place. Whereas with, as you could see in Jacob's demo, the ML engine just kind of identifies a huge set of possibilities for developers to chase after. And that component on its own is a huge piece of value that is added to the experience of going through a bug bust. So Nextroll's experience was really quite positive. We were able to save quite a bit of time on identifying those bugs with the pre-trained ML in BugBust. And to me, the kind of larger positive thing that BugBust brings is a collaborative and competitive way of kind of going after bugs, squashing them, and sharing that between teams that normally would have no reason to, really have that sort of camaraderie if it weren't for something like BugBust to bring them together. So I really enjoyed it. I think a lot of the team at Nextroll really enjoyed working on it, and we'll definitely be using it again in the near future. So thanks, Jacob. I'll hand it back to you.
Well, thanks, Danny. That was great. Really appreciate your insight on how you use the platform and your experience at Nextroll. So for everybody else, how do we get started? Well, again, you can find BugBust in the AWS console. You can create multiple BugBust events within the 30-day free trial period. All costs incurred by the underlying usage of CodeGuru Reviewer and CodeGuru Profiler are free for that 30 days. This period applies even if you've already used the free tiers for Reviewer and Profiler before. Once the free tier does expire, you'll be charged for the use of Amazon CodeGuru Reviewer and Amazon CodeGuru Profiler based on your usage of those services, and you can find their full pricing list in the AWS console. Today, the BugBust capability is available in US East with availability in additional regions where CodeGuru is coming soon. So we invite you to join the mission to exterminate 1 million bugs and win milestone rewards and prizes. So as you complete these BugBust competitions, if you earn 100 points, you can win a BugBust Club t-shirt. If you BugBust 2,000 points, you can win the varsity jacket. And if you earn 10,000 points, you can win a BugBust trophy. And we're excited to announce that if you finish in the top 10 of the BugBust Global Leadership, you can win an all expenses paid trip to AWS reInvent in 2021. But you need to get started now. Time is running out. Thank you so much.